Your Technology Tutor Program, Episode 12. Today's topic, common questions about sharing your video.
Welcome to the Your Technology Tutor Program, where you'll learn how to be more successful using personal technologies like Mac computers, iPhones and iPads, useful software, cool web tools, videotaping and editing, digital photography, and more. And now, here's the host of our program, your technology tutor, Chet Davis.
Well, hello and welcome to today's program. Pleased to have you along with me as together we learn how to become more successful in the use of our personal technology tools. Today's topic is sort of a continuation, or perhaps more accurately, part 2 of the last episode, episode 11, where the topic was common video questions and answers. In that program, I covered some fundamentals about contemporary video cameras, recording technology, and etc. You know, at a what I would call a common user's level, not a high-end video professional level, but just kind of like for the every person. That's what this program is all about, is really to help you understand personal technology in a way that, we're going to talk about it in a way that's not full of all kinds of techno-babble and techno-jargon, except where it's necessary. So today the focus is about sharing the video that you've produced. You see, your video camera can shoot files in a variety of different file formats. Now, 10 years ago, this would be a very different program. Most people were shooting video, home video, whatever, about 10 years ago on a format called mini DV, capital D, capital V, as in digital video, and, playing that back and sharing it. And some people were uploading it to the internet, but not many. Most people would put it onto videotape. They might put it onto VHS tape. Now, there's a walk down history lane, huh? And a lot of people were doing it on DVD. And, the landscape has changed in the last decade, big time. And now the video camcorder that we have available to us, very few are DV, are digital video. They're digital, but not the DV format. They might be MOV files. They might be AVI files. They might be AVCHD files. All this techno-babble. So you might be videotaping tomorrow afternoon at your, maybe there's an assembly at your kid's school and you're videotaping an AVCHD file format, which stands for Advanced Video Codec High Definition. And then after that, you need to share an H.264 or an MP4 file. Yuck! It's like techno terms gone crazy. It can be confusing, but that's why I'm here, to help you sort out all this mumbo-jumbo and make sense of the stuff that's pertinent to you. You're not going to walk away with a PhD or a master's degree in electronics engineering today, but you should have a better understanding of what's required to take that video that you captured on your camera, or maybe you've edited in your computer, and you want to share that with the world, or one part of the world at least. So here's a snapshot of what I'll be presenting today. Exporting and converting video. I'm going to give you a primer, or a primer if you like to say it that way, on video compression, just a real basic understanding. We'll talk about codecs and container formats, and then I've got some specific tips for sharing video, in particular some broadly used websites, Facebook, YouTube, and then I've got some others to share with you too. But first I need to lay out again right now. Today's program is not targeting video professionals, those who produce video for customers and then paying for commercial hosting services to broadcast or distribute their videos. I'm fully capable of having a conversation about that, but that's for another time. But the interesting thing is, all of what I'm talking about today does fit into that conversation, whether you're an amateur video person doing, travel video or home video or your video of your back garden, or if you're a video professional. All of this really pertains. It's the foundation. It's more fundamentals. So again, I just want to make it clear that we're not going into commercial hosting services much. I do have articles on my website and a whole other webinar on that topic. All right, so into the topic at hand, common questions about sharing video. First of all, exporting and converting video. Now, if you have a video on your camera that you want to share with some friends, or the family, or the world, we certainly have a lot more choices today than we had just, a couple years ago, let alone a decade or two. From several of the newer cameras that have Wi-Fi capability, we can identify a video clip and then share that via email or upload it to a social media website like Facebook, right from the camera. I remember just last month, the NAB show was in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the USA. That's the National Association of Broadcasters show. Big, huge show. I've been to it for a number of years in a row, where they have out all the latest toys that are available now and over the next year. And Canon, for example, has three new camcorders, actually, that have built-in Wi-Fi that even allow like TV news reporters to be able to upload a short video right from out in the field at a breaking news site, to load it up without even having to go. Used to be they'd have to go through a remote truck or send it up, what they call that, a microwave link back to the TV studio, and they'd edit it there and they'd retransmit it. Well, heck, now they can do it out in the field right to social media. So it's pretty darn amazing, the capabilities we have. Now, other pocket cameras like the Sony Bloggie, they make it easy to download a video clip into your computer and then send that via email if it's small enough, or upload it to, again, one of the websites. And certainly, all of these options and more are made easy, very easy, for those of us who capture video on our smartphones, right on my iPhone. We have easy options to share via Facebook, Twitter, email, even photo websites like Flickr and SmugMug. So you have the ability to do so much now, so many capabilities. Now, if you have a video that you spent some time creating on your computer, whether you've been editing that video, maybe you're doing even simple edits. Maybe you cut some things out and you took highlights from, maybe it was a school field trip, or maybe it was a production at your school or synagogue, or maybe it's a video for your nonprofit group, or for a local business. And maybe you've edited in iMovie or Final Cut Pro in a Windows program like Pinnacle or Vegas Video. Well, here's where it becomes, well, let me put it this way. You need to make some thoughtful decisions when you're ready to take that video out of your editing program and prepare to share it to the world, or again, just that small part of your world. That's what the rest of today's program is all about. So first of all, a video compression primer. If you have a video on your computer, okay, usually it must be compressed prior to uploading that video to the web or sharing it electronically in any capacity. And, if this is not your cup of tea, you haven't invested a lot of time in digital video and computers and technology, that's fine, you're here. That's exactly what this program's about. But a lot of people say, well, why? What's the big deal? Well, here's what's important to understand. Even if you're going to create a DVD of your video, if you're still doing that, or if you did that in days gone by, you would have compressed that video so it would fit onto a DVD. Here's what I mean. Well, what do we mean by compression? It's like a compactor. The compression process is actually using technology to kind of squish the file into a smaller size. So it allows a larger file to fit into a smaller space. In the case of DVDs, that's totally the situation, because a standard def DVD, what we call a DVD-R or a DVD plus R, holds just under 4.7 gigabytes of data, GB. You see the little abbreviation of GB. Now, that you don't have to know anything except that is not a whole lot of space, particularly when you realize that uncompressed video, the video coming off of a good quality camera, can range anywhere in size from 20 megabytes to 100 megabytes per second. So, depending if you're capturing in standard definition or high definition, SD or HD. That would be way too big for most of us to share on a computer. Again, let alone then a DVD, because what that would equate to, you're talking about 70 gigabytes of data, standard def, uncompressed data, for an hour. Now, again, on a DVD, it only holds 4.7 gigabytes. An uncompressed standard def video would be about 20 minutes of video on a standard def DVD. So imagine, okay, Netflix, it's in your mailbox and you're looking forward to seeing The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey tonight. Well, that movie just runs a little under 3 hours, so you open up your Netflix package, and what would be in there would be 9 DVDs to fit that movie on instead of 1. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that Netflix is going to give you 9 DVDs for you to watch The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. If it was uncompressed, if we weren't using compression technology, that's what they would have to do. But through the magic of compression, it squeezes the video down using a technology called MPEG-2, MPEG-2. That's the compression technology in standard def DVDs. Squishes it down. There's a great deal of compression going on there, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 times the amount of, when contrast that to a regularly uncompressed file. And we still think, most of us think, a standard def DVD looks quite good, but they're squeezing the bejeebers out of it so it fits. So compression is not necessarily bad, but there are two kinds of compression. There's lossy, L-O-S-S-Y, not Lassie. Sounds like, Timmy, but lossy, and you have lossless. So lossy is one of several processes where the video goes through some techno-magic and actually some of the video information is removed or left out as it's compressed. So there actually really is a difference between the original video and the compressed video. But I would say if it's done well enough, most folks wouldn't really notice a huge difference unless there was maybe a side-by-side comparison. A good high-quality TV that was set up well. On the left was the uncompressed and on the right was the compressed version. Then probably a lot of folks would go, oh yeah, I really see the difference. But if you're just playing it by itself, most folks won't know if it's done well. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that there is not a difference between them. Okay? There is a difference. But if it's done well and right, again, most people in your audience are not going to have a big understanding, a big recognition that, wow, we're watching compressed video, aren't we? Okay? So that's lossy compression. And most of what we're talking about today is, in fact, lossy compression. If you're going to upload something to YouTube, to Facebook, to the internet, it's lossy. If you're going to send an email with a link to a video that you put on a website, it's lossy. Okay? If you're sending out a DVD, it's lossy. By the way, lossless video compression is just that. No loss to the signal or quality or video, or very, very little, minute. The trade-off is that with lossless compression, you don't get much benefit in terms of reduced size. It's not a technology we would use to gain space. It's more utilized for sharing the video data between devices or servers, say between two different video editing platforms and that kind of thing. So again, it's not something you're going to run into using lossless compression with your next video project that you're uploading to the internet. Okay, so that's kind of a brief understanding in video compression. Next, we want to talk about codecs. C-O-D-E-C, all capital letters. And a codec is essentially the software that does the compressing of the data files. Why do I say data files? Because there are codecs for audio and for video and for photos and images. In fact, that's the topic for another time. But when you talk about JPEGs and TIFFs and GIFs, if you're sharing photo files, maybe you're sharing photo files for your desktop publishing, for a brochure you're going to do, or even from your camera, you might notice there's different compression schemes or compression codecs. The name codec, C-O-D-E-C again, is short for coder, decoder. CO from coder and DEC from decoder gives us codec. Some say it's short for compressor and decompressor. And again, this is the technology that's doing that. So you don't just compress something and send it on its way, because at the other end we have to decode it or decompress it. It's kind of like, the secret decoder ring. You need the code when you send the message, and you need the decoder on the other end to make sense out of it. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of gibberish, and it's not going to make sense. In terms of our TV display or our computer display, if you didn't have the appropriate software to play it back, it wouldn't show up as garbled. It just will say, and some of us get this, don't we? It's just say, your computer does not have the ability to play this back. So if I'm playing it back in my web browser in Safari or Firefox, it'll say, you don't have the correct plugin to play this back. That means you've got a codec and you don't have the right plugin. We're going to talk about that in a few seconds here. So again, the video codec is the technology used to convert an analog signal, the original signal from a video camera or editing system, into a digital signal and compressing it for space-saving transfer reasons. Each codec does its job slightly differently. Some codecs are compatible with each other, some are definitely not. Some of the more common video codecs are MPEG-2. Again, MPEG-2 is used in DVDs. And there's also MPEG-4, MPEG-4, H.264, and WMV, Windows Movie Video Files. Okay, so those are the more common video codecs. All right, that sound can mean only one thing if you're a regular here on Your Technology Tutor program. That is, it's time for our cool find. Every program, I'm going to use this segment to share a cool gadget, application, or web tool that I think is particularly worthy of sharing with you. This week, it's an app for iOS, Android, or Windows 7 mobile devices from the folks at Netflix. Yes, it's the Netflix mobile app. Now, to use this movie delivery service on your iPhone, iPad, or other compatible mobile device, you need to be a Netflix subscriber. But the cool thing is, once you are, like if you're getting DVDs delivered at home and also getting instant view on your home entertainment system, not only can you watch these programs or movies on those big devices in your home, on your laptop or desktop computer, but you can also watch them on your mobile device at no additional cost. That's pretty cool. So perhaps you're on vacation in some hotel or you're at a conference a few states away and you got a couple hours of downtime. Well, you can view the latest new release or old classic movie on your Netflix app right on your smartphone. It shows, it's a pretty cool app. It's nicely arranged. It shows all the videos and movies you have placed in your instant view queue. Now, it also shows the full search function, so you can use, your keyboard on your mobile device to search for movies like, I was showing my youngest son just recently got him turned on to Star Trek: The Next Generation, going back in time here. And so you can still search for stuff, but what I like to do, if I know I'm going to be out and about and I want to watch something on my mobile device, I find it easier to use my computer, desktop, laptop computer, log into Netflix, and then find something, with a full-size keyboard, and then put it into my instant view queue, so when I go to use my mobile device, it's right there at the top and ready to check out. So that's pretty cool. In fact, I think one of the coolest features of the Netflix mobile app is the ability to continue watching instant view content maybe you left in the middle or before. So maybe you're watching a program, and if you're like me sometimes, it's a good documentary, but dang, I'm getting shut-eye. I'm falling asleep on the couch here, and after I fall asleep like 7 times in 5 minutes, it's time to turn it off for tonight. Well, so we go ahead and stop the Netflix, go to bed. Well, the cool thing is, it shows up at the top of your Netflix app, and it says, continue watching, with a question mark. So it's really cool. You can continue where you left off. I really like that. So you can find, of course, more information about this in the respective app store, whether you're in the Android App Store, in the Apple App Store, or you can go to netflix.com/mobile, and you'll see the mobile-friendly website right in your device. Again, this app is free, but remember, their streaming video service is not. But they have plans starting at only $8 a month, so reasonably affordable, especially compared to those folks that pay, $130 a month for premium cable. So, by the way, that pricing from Netflix has been talked about a lot the last month and a week or so. There's big conversations whether it's likely to go up soon. Latest stock reports this week indicated very strong, that Netflix is growing and very healthy. But, again, only Netflix will have the final word on that decision. Again, our cool find this week is the Netflix mobile app. All right, back to our topic at hand. Again, today it's kind of common questions about sharing video sharing technology, kind of peeling back the layers and having a little bit better understanding. So right before the cool find, we were talking about codecs, C-O-D-E-C. Now I need to throw in one more techno term, and that is container format, or some might call it a file format, okay? Now, the container format or file format is an electronic folder of sorts. It contains the codec. It can actually contain a variety of different codecs, especially if it's a multimedia container folder. Among the more common video or multimedia container formats are AVI, especially if you're on a Windows computer, you know AVI, Audio Video Interleave. QuickTime, which those of us on the Mac platform are probably very familiar with. In fact, there's a QuickTime player. There's QuickTime Pro, which is a player and recorder editor. But QuickTime is also known as .mov files. Now, there's also MP4, and there's more than a dozen other ones. But those are probably what I would say the most common, AVI, QuickTime, and MP4. Now, container formats are sometimes called a wrapper, and that's a good way to think about them, I think, because here's one way to kind of wrap your brain around this. A codec and a container format, if you contrast them, it's like this. Think of it like food. Now, thank goodness I just ate lunch, because otherwise I'd be too hungry talking about this. I hope you're not too hungry. But the codec is the food inside the paper wrapper, while the container format is the paper wrapper itself. So maybe you go to the deli down the street, and they probably use the same paper wrapper to wrap up all their different sandwiches, right? And they have to write on there with a Sharpie pen, you know, to say, yeah, this is the roast beef special, whatever. So you could have the same paper wrapper with a different burger or a different sandwich inside. And that's kind of the difference between a container format and a codec. And it can be confusing because on some of the websites I'm going to point you to, like right on YouTube or Facebook, when you're looking at what kind of a compatible file can I upload to your website, they'll list container formats and codecs side by side. So they kind of use them interchangeably. So it can be tricky in that regard. So why do these two terms, codecs and container formats, mean? Why do I even bother sharing this with you? Well, I would say there's two reasons. One, if you're planning to upload your video to YouTube or to Facebook or another service to go on a website, these services accept many different codecs, but some do not. There are some codecs put out by some cameras. In fact, if you take them right out of the gate, you know, right off your camera, maybe you just videotaped something, and you downloaded it on your computer onto your external hard drive, and you go, hey, I'm going to upload this to YouTube or to Facebook. You go to do that, and it's like, this won't work. Incompatible format, incompatible codec. Well, there is that compatibility thing. Now, there are converters that will do this. Most people will find it's easier, especially if you're going to do video editing anyway. I'm going to talk about this in just a second, the way you look for the option where you're going to make that modification. There are also freeware and paid applications that do nothing but the compression side of things. Sorensen Squeeze is one. That's one of the more popular professional tools. If you're doing this a lot, you might consider that. Or Compressor, which is an Apple-based product for those editing on an Apple Macintosh computer, kind of part of the Final Cut Pro suite. And there's very specific options, very powerful options that they have there for taking a finished video out and compressing it to just the right file format and container. So it's important to note these websites also have a preference that oftentimes ties to a better quality playback if you play by their rules. So if they say, we recommend an H.264 codec, well, then I recommend that you use that. Because they're having to do less compressing. They're having to do less file conversion to get it into the file format that they prefer. And the less you have to do with electronic signals, the more pure, the better the playback, the better the results you're going to get in both picture and sound. Trust me on that. Now, here's the other option. If you're sharing a video with a friend directly, like maybe you're exporting out your video onto USB flash drive or thumb drive, and you're going to drive over this afternoon and put it in your friend's computer and play it back for her, well, you need to make sure that the software application on your friend's computer is going to be compatible, is going to play that back. There are a lot of people that I work with, clients in some of my different communities, who come to my workshops and have my tutorials. They are often sharing with me a big quandary. Is they'll say, okay, I was able to successfully edit my video, and I could upload it to YouTube. But I went to play it back on my client's computer, and it won't play back. That's because the software application on your client's computer or on your computer is not compatible with that specific file format or codec. So you need to download a plugin. I'm sure that's happened to you too, right? Maybe you went to play back a file and it may say right in your web browser, this file format is not compatible. Or you try to open it up in QuickTime, or you try to open it up in Windows Movie Player and it says this file is not compatible. This file won't play in this software is the basic way of saying it. So you need to do one of two things. You need to load a plugin that will recognize that specific codec or file container, or use one of the generic programs. And I'm going to put the links in the show notes, but I use a couple different ones. One of them is called MPEG Stream Clip, and another is the VLC Player. Two great pieces of free software that play almost any video file you can throw at them. Again, those will be in the show notes, and I'll tell you how to get the show notes in just a couple minutes. So those are very important things. So you spent all this time preparing this great video, and then somebody can't play it back. So as long as you've taken care of these little things, where you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, with the applications, or you're exporting out the correct file format, the correct codec, you won't have a problem. Not a problem at all, okay? So many of the video editing software applications we have available on our computers today make this pretty painless. For example, software like the latest versions of iMovie, Final Cut Pro X or Final Cut Pro 10. There is an export to YouTube option, as well as the option to upload or share with Vimeo, which you may know is a different video hosting website that many video professionals and enthusiasts use. You can even do a one-click to export it right to Facebook in many of these software applications. So the benefit there is it takes away the guesswork. You don't have to determine or set the menu for the right codec or the right container or the right bit rate or the right audio set. You don't have to do any of that. It's just one click. The downside somebody might say, well, you get less control. Yeah, but if you're doing kind of social media sharing, to me, honestly, I don't think it's a big deal. If this is your full-time profession, then you want to be more aware of the capabilities and maybe use the more sophisticated piece of software that gives you these options. But for a lot of us, these are more than fine. These options work good. Now, there are bumps in the road you can occur. Some people try some of these auto-sharing, and if they don't have their password set right, or I know, for example, in the Apple suites, if you try uploading your videos and Google has a two-step verification process, you can go into your settings and modify that so it's only one step, and then the password thing usually works. But frankly, for me, a lot of times, I don't even use those one steps. I don't discourage your use of them, but I like having my hands on it a little bit better, a little bit more, being more in control. I don't think I'm a control freak, but maybe to a degree. I like exporting the video out to my external hard drive. Number one, that gives me a backup of it, so I've got it protected, and then I load it from there up to whatever website that I'm hosting it on. But that's my own preference. So again, if your software doesn't have the option to upload it, the one-click upload to one of these things, okay, or maybe you're going to a website that isn't included in your software, what you need to do is seek out the help or tech support page on the website that lists the specifications for uploading videos. Now, I've included the specification pages for several of the more popular websites or services in the show notes for today. You'll find the show notes at yourtechnologytutor.com/12, as in episode 12. Again, yourtechnologytutor.com/12. yourtechnologytutor.com/12. Then what you do is, you go there and you say, okay, YouTube wants a video that's X. It'll take these codecs and these containers. Then you simply open up the menu under Share for your video editing program. And almost all the editing applications say Share or Export. And then you enter the recommended specifications. And then you'll receive a copy of the video that's compressed in such a way it should maximize both compatibility as well as success in terms of sharing and playing back that video smoothly for your audience. All right, in closing today, what I'd like to do is just share a couple tips here for sharing video. Share a couple tips for sharing. I'm going to share and share alike. If you wish to share your own video with the world, again, or just a little corner of your world, here's some of the more readily available methods and some tips for doing that. You can post it on YouTube, as you may know. YouTube is just a dumb. I forget how many hours now. Hours of video uploaded every minute to YouTube. It's just phenomenal, the amount of content there. You can launch your own YouTube channel at no cost to you. You just need a Google account, or you could just log in with your own email address. You don't even need a Gmail account, okay? And I will be soon, by the way, doing a program on this, a webinar, a video series on creating your own YouTube channel. Look for that soon at yourtechnologytutor.com. But you can launch your own YouTube channel. When you first start using YouTube, by the way, you are limited to a video length of 15 minutes. That's the longest a video you can make. But after you have verified your account, which is presently done via mobile phone, and if you are in good standing, meaning that you have not put up videos on YouTube that use commercial music, so you can't put music on YouTube as a rule that's commercially done. Again, there's back and forth on that topic for another episode, but the safest way is don't put commercial music in there. Don't add music. You know, if it's part of like a concert you went to or part of a play, musical, that's okay. They'll work something out. They actually put a link on there so people can buy it. But you can upload videos up to several hours once you are qualified to play longer videos. And I have a couple channels on YouTube, and I have that ability. So nice thing about YouTube videos is you can broadcast to a broad swath of the planet Earth, okay? Now, there's a lot to ferret through, but I mean, you know, it's readily available, easily available. But you can set your video privacy to unlisted. Very easily done. When you're loading the video, you just select privacy unlisted. The video will not show up on your channel, so if anybody drops by your channel, they're not going to see it. But if someone is searching for video and has the same keywords or tags or the same title as you titled it, if they're searching by title, they will be able to see it and view it. If you want it to be totally private on YouTube, you can set it as a private video, again, right in the privacy section, and then you provide the email address there for the recipient, who also needs to have a YouTube channel, or they just be a free member. And then only the ones you've invited will be able to view that video back. Now, YouTube will take all kinds of video files. They can even accept the highest quality video, a format called digital cinema, whose nickname is 4K. YouTube will even accept and create 3D videos. Yeah, you can put the 3D goggles on and see videos on YouTube now. It's pretty amazing. All right, next we have Facebook. Presently, you can upload a video to Facebook up to about 20 minutes in length, depending on file size, the compression setting. If you want to share a longer video on Facebook, what a lot of folks will recommend is load it to YouTube. Then you can grab the URL, the specific page address for that YouTube video, drop that on Facebook in your update, in your post, and it will play back perfectly right on Facebook. They don't even have to go to YouTube. It'll play back right in the Facebook stream. It's pretty cool. Facebook does recommend widescreen videos. That's the 16:9 aspect ratio, which we discussed in last week's program, episode show 11. Now, you can also upload and share short videos on websites which were traditionally photo sharing websites, like Flickr, which restricts you, by the way, to a 90-second video, Picasa, which has a much higher file limit of 1 gigabyte per file, and SmugMug. That's one of my favorite photo hosting websites. That allows their paying members to upload videos up to 20 minutes in length. Now, if you don't use any of these websites and wish to keep your video really private, I would recommend using one of the free cloud-based file services like Google Drive or Microsoft SkyDrive. You can upload longer video files in each of these, and it's totally free, and easily share them with your computer-connected friends or family. Now, if you plan on getting more heavily involved in creating video and sharing them with the world, I'd recommend you check out one of the paid services like Vimeo, V-I-M-E-O, Sprout Video, or iPlayer HD. I have accounts at all three of these web-based video hosting providers, and they have their definite benefits over the free services, but again, that's the topic for a future program. I'll have links to all of these services inside of the show notes today. Lastly, the easiest way, because I get asked this too, hey, what's the easiest way to share a video that I found on a website? I saw this, there's so many cool things on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of junk and garbage too, you know, and stuff I don't ever want to see in my life. But there's some really cool, inspiring, thoughtful, lovely, wonderful, creative videos on YouTube as well. And if you come across one you want to share it with a friend or a neighbor or a family member, the easiest way, I think, is to go to the YouTube video itself, scroll down and find the Share, S-H-A-R-E tab, which is beneath the video, and copy the URL, that's the website address, in the box. There's a little box that pops up underneath what's Share This Video. Now, I recommend this more than using the YouTube email option, which is a one-click option right on their website, because some email services will mark an email sent from or through YouTube as spam, and it might not make it through to your desired recipient. All right, well, that's it for today's program. Thanks so much for joining me. Links presented in the program, along with a summary and some additional notes and resources, will be posted in the show notes available at yourtechnologytutor.com/1212. Next program, our topic is comparison of web browsers. Which should you be using and why? Until then, your technology tutor, Chet Davis, signing off. Have a great rest of the day.